Right, let's get started. Welcome everyone. I hope everyone's going well tonight. We're going to jump straight back into it. We're here today with Socks. Here she is. And what we're going to do, so we've done most things. I've got my tablet. I'm going to use my tablet. You know, I spent $50 on the tablet. I might as well use it. Alright, so with the I mucked up there. For the CRUD, we have done the updated, that's done. Ready for testing. Read, we're technically done, but there's a bug to fix. We need to create. And we need to delete. I'm going to do the delete first. I think it'll be the easier one, just to get us straight into it. And then we just need to do the create. There are some blockers for the create. I do need to start doing the welcome multi-select. That will happen shortly. So let's jump into it. So with the create, what I kind of want to do is I want to have a little drop down here, a little selector, much like the normal and like the blocked and so forth like that, just a simple sort of selector. Down here, it will then have all of those sort of values, whether it's going to be related, is blocked by, and so forth like that. The next thing is we're going to have an input where the user can input, they'll be doing a search. But we're going to keep it simple for the moment. We're just going to have it as a simple sort of drop down with all the options that the user can pick. And then we're going to have a simple plus button. And the idea being is the first two have to be filled out for the plus to actually be enabled. Once that is, you hit enable and it'll send it off to the back end and create what we require. So that's the idea. It's going to be pretty hopefully simple. So yeah. I'm just going to close all the tabs, minimize everything. We're starting with a blank sort of area just to get our head wrapped around things. As for the delete, that's already sort of implemented. There's this little button here. We're just going to quickly do that. So when a user clicks on this, it's just going to delete that connection. Now, in the past, we've always asked the user if what they did was correct. The reason for that is some people will have like a Tourette's click. They might move the mouse, but their finger automatically sort of clicks somewhere. And we don't want that to sort of delete stuff that the user has no control of. We kind of want that sort of, hey, if they do delete it, let's bring it back. Okay, there, Socks, your tail is going bonkers at the moment. She's like, yes. So, a couple of things we could potentially do for the delete is when someone clicks on it, you have a little pop-up, a little tiny one where you got a little tiny yes and a little tiny no. I don't like that. I've seen that multiple times, and essentially I don't like it because they're very tiny and it's very hard to hit the wrong one, and very easy to hit the wrong one, and I'm like, no. In the past, what we've done is we've just had a modal appear. So if I just go to demo, let's delete one of these. A simple modal popping up. And it just confirms everything and stuff like that. That is something we could potentially do. However, yeah, we'll quickly think about it. Anyway, we've just reached our first ad break on Twitch. For those on YouTube wondering what's actually happening, we just run ads every half an hour. So yeah, hopefully everyone's going well. Socks is here today. She was in a bit of a meow mood before stream, but she's quieted down. She's saying, okay, I like this patch. So, yeah. Hopefully everyone's going well. I'm hoping the next couple of streams I get this little thing just done. I'm sick of the object links. It'll be great once it's just done and I can move on to the documentation, because the documentation should be a lot easier. Touch wood. Famous last words. Mainly because I've already got a lot of the business logic there. So yeah, hopefully it's just something which we can do quicker. About 10 seconds of the ads and then we'll jump right back into it. So we'll have a look at little modals and stuff like that. Alright, welcome back everyone. So yeah, another thing is we could do this sort of modal. We could add in all of this. And all of this and so forth like that. It shouldn't be too hard to actually implement. Yeah. We can get this to fill out pretty quickly and pretty easily. So for example, when someone clicks on this, we just pass those details down. And then we have the delete link and the cancel. However, I'm gonna have a look at some examples over here with modals. See, I kind of like that. You got the little stuff saying what it is. So, yeah, we could do that. But I like the confirmation that what's been removed. That also looks nice, but it's more of a question. You kind of like that. Oops, wasn't meant to click on stuff. So it'll be remove link. Are you sure you want to remove the object link? And then it'll be, yeah, something like that. Something simple and easy. I like that. We're just going to build in the modal now. Now, we probably won't use welk for the modal. Not at the start. However, if it's going to be one of those things where I'm going to be using the modal quite a lot, I might move it to welk. And hi, how are you, AVE, yes, your name. Hi, how are you? Hopefully you're going well, AVI. Other things we could look at. I'm just having a look at other examples of modals. We've got the terms of service. All right, yeah, that's nice. I like the little line there. I don't know how that will fit with what we've got. Yeah. Yeah, I like that. All right. I'm just wondering if I should just build this in welk and then import it in. Won't be hard to do. It then gives me the ability to build it everywhere else. But also, it adds on a lot of complexity at the moment because I just don't have that. Give me 2 seconds. I'm actually logging into the production version of NearBeach. Welk shell components. All right, here's the production version. I'll just do this so you guys can actually see properly. So in here, we've got all of this stuff. We do actually have a modal in here. So It looks like we do want to actually implement a modal. I forgot that we wanted to implement the skeletons and stuff like that. Damn, stop it. Yeah, I forgot we wanted to implement skeletons. Something simple. Where did I put the modal? There we go. And here's some more examples. I'm just having a look at everything as I sort of make up my mind at the same time where I want this modal to sit. I kind of like this one too. This design. It works. But I don't know how I'm going to pass to the icon because welcome is dumb. I don't want it looking like the bootstrap modals anymore. I'm getting sick of those. Yeah, a lot of these modals down here I just don't like. I like the more modern ones, like this. And then you got the X on there. That one you don't have an X. I kind of like that one a little bit more because it just feels cleaner. Yeah. All right. So I'm just thinking what will be the quickest way of implementing this today. Problem is, if I do it in Welk, sure, I can get it up and running and working and everyone will be happy. However, means I've got a process to go through. It can be done something temporarily in NearBeach, and then what I've set up in NearBeach can be ported over, and that way we can focus on this one particular modal. I think that would be a better solution. Socks, did you just sit on the mouse again? I don't trust you with the mouse. All right. The other solution is today I ignore the modal, I come back to the modal, and we do the modal next week. And then re-implement this. And we just do the CRUD today. Get the CRUD working as best as possible, make sure that is done, and then polish everything off next, which is also what I kind of like doing. So just have it so that button just deletes stuff straight away. Without the question. And the same with the bottom. Have that, yeah. All right, I'm going to do that for today. Then we'll design out the modal later. Because, yeah, we do kind of need that. However, that being said, this now makes this modal a little bit higher in priority. We are actually going to put this at a highest priority. Because we need it now. We need it now. We also need a lot of this stuff too. And I need to do all the unit tests for those. Do all of that. Yeah. So we'll probably jump on Welk again. Probably next week. All right. I'm going to close the demo. I'm going to close this. I'm going to close that. We're not going to worry about that at the moment. We're just going to take control of this. So let's do the delete. We want to go into the components. We want to go object component. We want to then go in here the link objects. We've got the link object already. As you can see, this does a bunch of stuff already. We do all this, and then we've got the trash icon here, which we've been happy with the trash icon. Now that's been changed. Sorry, Sox's head is in the way if you're wondering what I'm doing. We do want a V on click. We then want to go remove. I should just say delete link. Object link. We want to pass in through the object ID. Sorry, the object assignment ID. And something's reminding me that I probably need something else to... No, I don't. No, that's it. Alright, so with that, what we need is a function. So it'll be async. It'll be delete object assignment. We're passing through the object assignment ID. Easy done. We're all happy with that. And then we kind of want to notify the user what's actually happening. Or in this one case, we don't really need to. Yeah, I'm going to be optimistic about this. So when a user hits the delete, I'm just going to delete this. And then that's all the user really needs to know. And it just happens. And if something goes wrong, that's when we notify the user, hey, this hasn't been deleted correctly. We've had an issue. All right, I'm going to do it like that. Now, this object assignment ID, yeah, that's a number. So we're going to state that it's a number there. Straight off the bat, what we're going to do is we're going to go await fetch. It's going to be the API version 1. It's going to be the object store.destination. And then once again, the object store.id. This will be part of the link list. And then this is the last little bit. This will be the object assignment ID. This will be method delete. Headers will quite literally be content type. It's going to be application.json. We're not sending anything anyway. XCSRF token is just going to be get CSRF token. Easy done. Most of this is all done, and then we're just going to do... We don't need to do anything if there's an error. Sorry, we don't need to do anything if it's all hunky-dory. We just need a catch. And once again, we're going to do a simple to-do, handle errors correctly. Now, let's, sorry, I've just realized I do need some more bit information in here. We can have it where if someone hits delete, we can sort of highlight that this is going through a transition. We do have that option. I just don't have the graphical knowledge of how to relay that bit of information. So I'm just going to remove it straight away. I'm going to have a think about what I can do there to indicate that that particular object is being removed. But in the meantime, I do also need to delete it. So what we got to also pass through is we're going to pass through the index. Because when someone clicks on that, we've got to remove it from the store. And that will just happen straight away. That's just going to be update backend. All right, cool. So now we've got to go to that specific store. So we're going to go into the store. Actually, no, that isn't stored in the stores. Sorry, that's actually stored locally. That's a part of the object link list. From the object link list. And this is where we go JavaScript remove element from array. Yep, alright, cool. Now what I wanted remove element from array by index. Removes one element starting at index 1. Alright, that will work. And then all I need to do here is just go index. That's going to be a number. Everyone's hunky-dory about that. And then what I want to do is, that's not props, it's part of the object link list.value equals object link list.value. We're removing, just wait, I need to reread this. Removes one element at starting at index. So value.slice start I don't know. Yeah, there's that. Remove the last element. No, pop. Remove the first element. Yeah, alright. Yeah, I'm a bit sus about the slice. Inserts index at 1. Replaces one element at index 4. I mean, I can do the filter, this one pretty easily, and I know it's going to work. Index, index, slice, index one. Oh, however, they've got index and then one. All right, cool. All right. I'm going to do that. We're going to hope for the best. We're going to test it, of course. If we're going to test it thoroughly, what I'm going to do is... Oops. I'm going to comment at that bit of code for the moment, and we're just going to test that. The reason being for the commented out code, it just means I can refresh. So if I delete this one, so task administration... delete object link, not a function. All right, cool. Well, that's great. All right, refresh. All right, it deleted everything. Oops. This is why we refresh. There we go. So, yeah, that's not getting what I want. I'm going to do the filter. So the filter one itself, const index, alert index, if index is... Yeah, that didn't work for me. What we've got to do is... it's not this anymore. It'll be object link list equal dot values. Dot value, sorry, equals object link list dot value. Dot filter. We're going to do an underscore because we're not going to use it, and then we're going to have an I for an index where and we know this is going to be a number, so we're just putting that in there for everyone to know. We're going to return where I does not equal index, and they're both numbers, and that's it. So if I do a refresh again, if we hit that, boom, boom, and I hit the last one, project QA team, boom, and then requirement QA team, boom, and then boom. All right, cool. So that works, and then if I do task QA team, boom, that removes that. Then I'm going to test this. We're just going to hit refresh. We're going to get rid of project QA team. We have an error. 404 not found. And I have a feeling it's because I don't have a / there. So I'm just going to hit refresh. We're going to go down here, project QA team. We're just going to hit that. And then... Sorry, that was requirement QA team. We're going to refresh. Boom. That's no longer there. Project QA team. Just delete that. No longer there. All right. I like that. Means everything's... the delete is working. So, this working. All right. Give myself a smiley face. All right, so now we're just going to do the CRUD side of things. So we've got the link objects in here. That's a simple... If we go back over here, that should be this whole thing, this linked objects. Inside it, we then have the link objects table, and then underneath we'll have the link objects add. So everything's loaded. We've got links. That's the link objects table. Underneath, we've got the skeleton. That's just there if things aren't loaded in. So very similar to this one, we've got to make sure if it's loaded in, there's no point actually showing people stuff. So we're just going to do that. And this is just going to be the add. In here, we're going to have three little tiny components. So we're going to have a simple welk select. I need to import it. That will be part of... Oh, nothing. Alright. Sorry, be gone. Well, select. Cool. Down here, we've got a welk select. Class is going to be relationship type. All right, and auto compact. We don't want this large. We do need some options and so forth like that. So the welk select will require some options. I'm just wondering also, because I think we can just do that and that will be fine. We'll then also have a welk. Oh wait, we'll have a couple of welk selects now that I think about it. This will be the object selection. And then we'll have a welk button. Class equals primary. And this will actually have an icon. Now, if we have a look over here, it's not going to load in because we have a bunch of errors now because I haven't set anything up. We've got a label. If I bring up the welk select anywhere else, for example, here, this is what we're sort of looking for. No, I'm not worried about that one yet. I'll fix that up later. All right, so I'm just going to just paste that in twice. I'm gonna get rid of these ones for the moment. I'm going to get the lint to lint stuff. We've got to do the translations and stuff like that. So this will be, so we've got text, we've got, we'll have that as add relationship. We'll have object, select object. And I just realized we're in another ad break. All right, hey everyone, hopefully you're going well. Yeah, we're getting there slowly. So hopefully I get this part done. So if I got the create, read, update and delete done tonight, I'll be happy. I know that there's a bug in the read. I've got to go through the code and figure that one out. It's going to be frustrating. Might not do that one on stream. So yeah. Yeah. Then once that one's done, I'm looking forward to doing the documentation stuff. With the documentation, I've got to think about, do I want smaller calls, or do I want all the documentation to come down all at once, and then the person can navigate through it without any lag, or very little lag, I should say. So I'm probably leaning on the latter there, where we download all that information, and then we're like, all right, cool, go for it. It'll also be good for the API too, to send all that information if the user requests it. Anyway, welcome back everyone. All right, let's get back into it. So we've got add relationship, select object. The button down here, yeah, we'll do an icon in there. No, not the icon we're after. We're after this pretty simple one. This is just plus. All right, cool. So I'm gonna go import plus. I'll put it on the mouse. Now there's a plus circle. I think just a normal plus. And then what I can do, I can just do a plus. We do a width equals, I'm just going to put 20, height equals 20, and then we call it this. Can you stop doing that, please? No. All right, so as for these, let's add in the translations first. Let's get that over and done with. So up here, sorry, I've already add relationship and select object. So that's going to be add relationship. And then select object. Hey, off, thank you. We just need to add those down here for the Japanese. We're just going to go to translate, and what we're going to do is, yeah, we're just going to have, easy done. All right. So that one's done. The options at the moment, that's going to be pretty easy to do because we don't have the options here. We do actually have the options somewhere though. And it's going to be these. Now, the thing is, we are going to be using this in multiple different spots. And I just realized this has already done all the hard work for us. In which case, what I can actually do I can just get rid of this. Keep it simple. If we go back into here, it's not going to show up just yet because we still got more problems than that. The relationship link itself. So this particular index, where are you used? I don't think you're used in here. I think this is one thing that I can get rid of. I can get rid of it. All right, cool. If it's not used, remove it. Easy done. Which means up here, I can get rid of that. And then up in here, I can get rid of that. I think it's because we're not doing the delete here. When we do the change and stuff like that, it automatically updates stuff appropriately. Because yeah, it's got a local thing, and then yeah, it just updates the back end. But does it? Oh, I'm just trying to wonder. I've just realized, no, we do need it. And I've just realized that there is a bug in this system. And I also just realized, this sucks. All right. So the bug is a bit of a couple of steps. The idea being is if you change one of these and then delete one of these, this is going to revert back most likely. So if I go is duplicate of and I delete that, it's not going to work because I need to undo quite a lot of stuff. What actually happens is it modifies the store data, and that store data comes back and re-renders everything. So we've actually got to tell the store data, hey, this has been updated. And then we've got a bunch of checks in here to be like, it's fine, everything's been updated. So, update relationship actually happens with the value because nothing, just return. The object store, no. That's not a watch. This is where I need to remember where this is actually stored at. Once again, it's actually stored up here. So I need to emit it up. Now I've got to do something like that. Trying to remember if we've, I think it's going to be like that, and we're just going to go console log event. We're just going to do that for the moment. All right, fine. This will be index. No, it'll be $event. I'm going to leave it like that. It's going to complain. And then I just go VueJS emit event type. At some event, yep. Feed click, emit, increase, yep, alright, cool. Increase by increase count, increase, yeah, but I need types here. What's the N? Or is it just going to be an object? All right, we'll figure it out. We can do this. So down here, what we need to do is we need to set up the inits. Ugh. So it should be just like that. That's fairly stock standard. I'm not passing through any types or anything like that in here. And then we've got the remove organization just in here, and we've just got that like that. All right, define emits. Was that in? That's an array. Yep. And what we've got in, oh, for fuck's sakes, there we go. What we've got is update relationship. Oh, here we've got it like that. All right. Be consistent. Gotta be consistent. So we got that defined in here, and the idea is when something changes, update relationship, what we want to do, we set the data, all that kind of fun stuff. We set the timeout. We then emit dot update emit update relationship. And then we send through some arguments. So the argument will be index. Will be part of the index. So props.index. That one's pretty easy. And we've just got the new relationship type, which will be this. Like that. And that's it. It goes up here, we hit this. Then we've got data, that will be index number, relationship string. That would be just that. And then I'm just going to put data there. We're going to test this. I've got to fix everything up also down here, so I'm just going to do that. All right. There's our big blue button. We'll shrink that down and so forth like that. But what I want to do is I'm going to change one of those. Didn't emit up. Okay, cool. So we didn't actually hit this update relationship. Mainly because of that. But that's fine. Easy mistakes. There we go. So we've got index and we've got the relationship of. Perfect. So it should be technically link relationship. So I'm going to change that. And then all we need to do is this will be the object link list dot value index. I don't know if we can get to the index data dot index. Hopefully we can. Equals dot link relationship equals link relationship. I don't know if that will work, and this is alright, doesn't like that. So let mutated row equal the object link list dot value data dot index. All right, check. Mutated row exists. So mutated row should be, I don't think we need to declare that. So if mutated row equals undefined, we're just going to return. Okay, mutate the row. So mutated row dot link relationship should equal data dot link relationship. All right, and then put the row back in. And then we've got the object link list dot value data dot index equals mutated row. So we just mutated the row. I know we can squeeze that all in one line. Because I realized before that I didn't have data dot link relationship. I just put link relationship. And I'm going to try that again. So object link list dot value data dot index dot link relationship equals data dot link relationship. Yeah, all right. So it does throw up a little issue. Possibly undefined. All right, cool. So that's hence we're checking everything and doing it that way. So we've got to do it the long way. All right. So that should be that now. If I hit refresh, that looks like it mutates okay. I'm going to go route view, anonymous, base, project. This is part of the anonymous well, this is part of the linked objects. And then in here, we've got the object linked list. So we've just got 2 in here. I'm going to change the bottom one. So we've got subject object of. I'm going to go duplicate, has duplicate. Cool. That way, if I delete something, it's mutated the original source. So that way it can base stuff off the original source. Other ways we could do that is if we wanted to keep this lean down here. Sorry, in the relationship, if we wanted to keep this lean and just admit those changes, we potentially could, because then we can move this up where we wanted it to, up, and then we can reuse this component. All right. So there is another problem that we actually have at the moment. If I utilize this component in the drop down over here, I've got to program it to ignore doing stuff for me. However, if I have it where we change something, we just admit that change upstream. If there's no events connected to that emits, it's going to do nothing. I think that's a better solution. And what we could potentially do is we could remove this. We could check. We could still do the relationship model .value equals nothing. We could still do that. Oh, sorry, big on. Then I can reuse this. This has all the translations in it. I just say the index is -1. We ignore everything. We're still going to use the word relationship there. It does simplify it at this level. I kind of like that. All right, and then, yeah, we've got the update relationship, and that just passes everything through. We do the check here, make sure that works. All right, cool. On the mounted, yeah, that's just part of the props relationship up to a lowercase block, and then the reverse relationship. Yeah, that's all set in stone for us. That's on the mounted. That's going to be fine. We just pass that information through. So what I'm going to do, the only thing that's different is the relationship updating. That's the problem. That will probably need to go upstream. And what I mean by that is we've got it changing all the status here. That status can go upstream, but there's no way of me actually putting that status down. All right, this is becoming a little bit more trickier than I wanted it to be. All right. We fixed a bug at least before it became a bug. What I'm going to do, I'm going to leave this like this. However, wherever it's gone, this is actually useful in a bunch of different places. And the problem is, I need that translation to happen in multiple different places. Ugh. Alright. I mean, I can have the index check down here. That's easy. That way this still works how I want it to. I'm not changing this whatsoever. I just have an index of 0. We make it simple. It's a simple bypass. We've got the same component being used multiple places, so hopefully a lot smaller footprint. Because we want to get NearBeach to be small. We want NearBeach to be tiny, especially compared to nowadays sort of stuff. If we open up this, go into our network. I'll just delete everything and reload everything. At the moment, it's 604 kilobytes. Now, I'm going to be removing some of the fonts. I'm going to be finding some smaller fonts. So these 3 fonts together... Oh, that one's tiny. Oh no, sorry, that's not tiny. That's 400 kilobytes. So if I take off 400, there's 200 kilobytes for here. If I move this off to the left and I go network, I just delete everything. Thank you, socks. This is 3 megabytes because we're currently debugging. But yeah, the idea being is I want to get this as small as possible. Having a single component be used in multiple different places will help with that because we can just reuse it. I think in this sort of case, we add in another escape condition being like, if the index is less than 0, we're not processing it. All right. I think that's a good solution. So if I go props dot index is less than 0. Sorry, I've been using C# all day. We're just going to return. We don't care. It's not going to process any of this. That way, I can move this back into here. So when there is a change made and it's successful, it'll update this. This will still work all hunky-dory. We still need to import stuff. It will still utilize this with the translations. I'm not having to worry about having that in 2 different places or importing it in here with translations already applied to it due to this and this and this. Yeah. It's just that we've got to fill out a lot of that, which isn't going to be a problem. So if I go down here, let's do this. So we've got the relationship, object assignment ID. I'm going to put -1. All right. -1. Object type. Ooh. This actually belongs up here because we just write it in. I'm just going to do an underscore, and I've just realized that it is ad time. So yeah, I'm going to be right back. I just need some more water. Oh God, my hair. That was not good. I'll be right back. Just grabbing some more water. Hopefully socks will entertain you. Oh, I tripped over something. All right, we've got about 20 seconds left of the ads. All right. You gonna say hello? Hi, socks? You're not gonna say hi? You're not gonna meow them for treats? Oh, there we go. There's the meow for treats. And welcome back, everyone. Oops, wrong screen. There we go. So, object type, we're going to blank that out. Relationship. Yeah, we pass that down. Yeah, we actually don't have a model. So I'm going to put relate as the default. Once again, that's just text, so that belongs up there. Reverse relationship, that's just going to be false. That should work now. String. So object type, string, yep, relationship number false. Those are numbers. What I'm going to do, I'm going to do this. Object type should be that. Oh, which reminds me, with the fonts in here. Yeah, I've got to shrink them. That's 400 kilobytes. I don't like that. We'll find some better fonts in a little while. Gonna move that to the right. We don't have anything in there. We do have... Oops, sorry, I was meant to do this to the left. Missing required prop index. That's what I'm missing. That's going to be -1. There we go. Alright, so that should be all done. We just refresh. There we go. We've got the relates and all that kind of stuff. I think we've got that as compact. No, we don't. But that's fine. That's a good size down here. What I want to do... So I'll come back. We're going to set that width for this. But not at the moment. The next thing we want to do is we want to do a little select. The options at the moment, I'm just going to do an empty array. Pass through like that. V model is that we're just going to scroll all the way up. We're going to go const add object link equals ref. This is going to be a string. It's going to be empty. There you go. Scroll down, add object link. We're no longer doing that for the is valid stuff. There's a better validation way with the required up here. All right. So that should be the select, and that should be the plus. We'll change all of this out in a second. We'll move that to the right. We're going to make this button really, really small. So one way to do that is we should go compact. And there's our small button. We're also going to make that icon super tiny too. We're just going to go 10, 10. No. All right. I might need to figure out how I'm going to do that. Do I have plus being used anywhere else? No. Oh, well, I do there. Oh, sorry. We should also do that. We've got the type button area, yep. In this sort of case, it's going to be add object link. It's going to be like that. Oh. Yeah, that was my bad. There we go. And microwave coffee. Sorry, I just saw your text. Yo, hey, what's cracking? Did you get this off Figma or straight to code? Pretty much straight to code. I'm terrible at design. Yeah, for some strange reason, Figma just does not click with me. Yeah. Just how it works, sadly. Alright, sorry, big yawn happening. Then we need to add in another function. And there we go. So that should be all done and dusted. Give me a couple of seconds. Yeah, that's not what I wanted. Have you seen some of my designs? Yeah, I'm not the best at designing. I know that. I struggle with it. So yeah, no, it's just, yep. There's a lot of work that can be done here to make NearBeach look really, really nice. All right, so I need to compact select object. I need to then add all of this into its own single row. So what I'm going to do is, great news is with the select, we can go class equals compact. We can pass that through like that, and that just compacts that. What I want to do is I want to add in a max width to this relationship one. So I want to go max width. I'm just starting off with 150 pixels, probably dropping that down to 125. I also want to so I have to do that at the relationship link. Oh no, they should all be under. Hang on, I'm mucking something up. Okay, linked objects add. Let's start with this. So this is directly under linked objects. So we've got linked objects. There's the table. We're going to scroll all the way down to the bottom. We're going to be like, all right, cool. I want to go dot linked objects add. We want to go display flex. Flex direction is going to be a row. How did you design your access control system? When you're saying the access control system, what do you mean? So we got that as flex direction now, so they're all like that. Now the good thing is full width. Inside it, we've got the relationship link, which will go. Yeah, we'll keep it like that. We can do something like that. For the button itself, we really want that SVG to be tiny, so we don't want that SVG to be that big. And we've already got the compact where it's tiny. User access, RBA type thing. I did something similar for reference. Alright, so great news is I didn't do much. Django comes with its own sort of handling for the logins and all that kind of stuff. As for the give me a couple of seconds. I'm just jumping into. I don't know the demo password for the admin. Give me a couple of seconds. I'm just jumping into permission sets for NearBeach. All right, cool. As for the permissions for each object, it's done on permission sets. So. This is the admin. I'll go basic user. So you got your basic sort of permission name. You got your administration permissions, where in this sort of case, basic user doesn't have permissions to those. You got your customers and organizations, and you've got your read only. You've got your no permissions, read only, add edit, and full permissions. So it's stackable. And then you got your different objects, your Kanban, cards, projects, tasks, requests for change, and so forth like that. However, cards, I don't think we're going to be removing cards out of here because. And in fact, we've actually done that with 0.32 because cards is a child component. It should rely on its parent's component's permissions. So yeah, we've just removed that one. And then you got extra permissions where you can give read-only users that little bit of extra permission where they can actually write notes on Kanban boards or stuff like that. And then you got MISC permissions. Now, the way it works is math. Let's say you've got a project. All right, doesn't matter. Let's say project 1. You might assign it to certain groups. Let's say QA team and dev team. Yeah, dev team. For users, every single user you can connect to a group with a permission set or more. And the idea is when you're looking at the permissions for example, this project, you're going, all right, cool. I have project groups. And then I've got user groups. If there is an overlay here, I am actually checking that object's property in that permission property in this overlay. And let's say this particular user has a 2, all right, for projects. It'll come out with the max of 2. And if that meets the requirements, then they get to edit and all that kind of stuff. So yeah, in reality, it sounds complicated just because there are a couple of steps you need to know about user assignment groups and connected with the permission sets and also object groups. But at the end of the day, you're grabbing the overlap and you're grabbing the max number for that object. And it ends up just being math, pure math. All right, going back into here, we've got this. I'm gonna have to shrink that button. So what I'm going to do, we've got a welcome button, we've got this all. Now, another thing we could potentially do is if this gets really, really messy, we can actually put this in a different component. We can put all of this in a different component. That's not going to be a problem. And then this is loaded. Yeah, all that could be put. Yeah, all right. Don't worry yet. I'm just getting way ahead of myself. Now, there are other things instead of primary, but at the moment, I'm just going to use primary. I don't have outline, do I? No. Already, I'm not liking this. Which is annoying. Alright, not to worry. So, we've got a button. I'm just going to put that. Yeah, alright, cool. I've got access to it. So hopefully I have access to the SVG and I can go 10 pixels like that. Good. And the height is going to be 10 pixels too. So override the heights and stuff like that using that. Then I can go width. Let's go 20 pixels. Let's go 6 rem. But the thing is, it's not being compacted. I'm passing through compact. This is where I've just got to deal with the height. Something like that. All right. Yeah, I'm not liking this at all at this particular point. Yeah, it's not what I had in my head. So what I had in my head was if I grab this, let's do something like this. Grab a line, just cut it here. Grab another line, cut it here. Oh wait, I've got my little tablet in front of me. And a little plus here. Have the drop down. And then have the ability to search. So it's in like a little pill shape. Which I like. Does the job well. It kind of implies that these three components are actually connected and one of the same. Like the story points up here, if that comes across correctly. It's connected. And that's what I like. Now, worst case scenario. I'm trying to think. Worst case scenario, I could potentially really hijack a lot of this. It's going to be a lot of CSS to get it to work. Because that div then needs to go, and that select is underneath the div, which we can't. I don't think we can get to. Always check. Alright, so we've got the button. Alright, so we can get to that. Sweet. Then under that form is this label. And I don't think I can get to that label. Yeah, so I've just tried making that font size be 100 pixels, which will come up like that. But it doesn't, even if I refresh, because I can't get down that far, because all of this is scoped. I can edit this div here, but I can't edit any of these. All right. Now, what does this mean? It could mean that I go in and make a custom element, a custom component for just this little tiny thing, call it a pill thing, deal with it like that. This won't go in Welk. Obvious reasons being is it doesn't fit inside Welk. This component's only going to be used in NearBeach. The other thing which I'm thinking of is we redesign this. Now, I'm not a fan of that. because I'm really set on the pill design. And I really like that pill design. It just makes sense having it in that sort of format. We've done it in the past as a wizard. I want to remove the wizard because it should be as simple as jumping down here. In the end, it'll be literally a search type of thing where you type stuff in, it'll search for the stuff, and you hit enter for the one you want, it'll add it in for you. Or you can move your mouse and click the button, and that will all work. I've got the feeling I won't be able to do that. If I go back to here, with this also, I want one label. It'll be add object link. Like so. And the idea is this will be smaller than the other areas. It's not hard for me to create all the components and all that kind of stuff. It's just annoying because we can't use any of the whelk components for this. We've specifically made the whelk components how they are, so that way their styling is consistent throughout the whole entire project, as well as when we actually start building the bug tracking and software and all that kind of fun stuff. It won't be hard for me to build this because there's just going to be a simple select. This is a very simple button. It just means I've got to style these to be as similar to the whelk components whilst having this in the pill format. Which also then means I've got to remove it from here and actually have it down lower. Which then also sort of means is we've got this, if this is loaded, we can then put this down lower, have this be a lot lighter and deal with just the layout of it and have all the business logic separated out into their own components, which is going to be fine. It would be a better solution because this particular file is getting a bit large now. So I'm going to do that. I won't start moving everything down and all that kind of stuff. It also means with the relationship link, we're going to pass through the same translations and stuff like that through. That being said, we could look at putting this into a composition. Might work. That way we have one source of truth, even though this isn't changing. This is going to be set in stone. But it's nice to have it in one location, because someone might come through and be like, oh, I'm going to add in another language in here. I'm going to add in this language. I'm going to add in, let's say, Chinese, Arabic, or anything like that. They're not updating it in two places. And I just realized we're on an ad break. So it's time to pat socks a little bit more. She's like, what? Stop waking me. So, yeah. But I think we can do this. We'll get something out very, very quickly. Doing the pill format is not hard at all. It's just... yeah, it's just a bit of CSS and stuff like that. Hell, we could use grid. Isn't that right, Socks? She's like, yeah, just use grid. I've also got to think, when it's in its mobile format, we've got to sort of stack it a different way. But that's fine. We'll get the basic layout done first, and then we'll figure that one out. I think that one's just, we stack it, so we'll have the button at the top, and then so forth like that. So it'll be out of its pill format. That's not going to be a problem. And I think we copy... oh, sorry, we're actually back. Sorry about that. I was going on a rant. We copy the Welk design as much as possible. We've got access to the code, the Welk code. We know what the values are going to be. These values I'm quite happy with, and so forth like that. So we're going to be reusing those values. Or similar values. Alright, so first step. I'm going to put this relationship link over here. I'm going to see if the composer will work first. I'm just going to minimize everything. Let's open up NearBeach. Let's open up source. Let's open up the composable. We got all of those. Let's just go file. What are we going to call it? I don't know. We'll scroll down into a relationship list. I like that. And it's just a TS. We're just going to add it straight in. If this doesn't work, that's fine. We'll revert it. It's essentially, we've got to export. In this sort of case, it's not going to be a function. It's going to be something that we want. But what I want to do is straight off the bat, and I think we're just going to export these. But before we go ahead, we need to bring in the internationalization stuff. So we've got the internationalization stuff, the export. All right. Yeah, I screwed up there. So we're importing the internationalization into the composable. It does all of this stuff for you, and then presto, it just exports that for you. Will this work? I don't know. Let's find out. Let's go into here. Let's delete this because it's no longer needed. And we're going to delete this. And you might be going, oh no. Oh, we do actually need that T for relationship updating. All right. And relation success and label. All right. I got too ahead of myself. Let's undo a couple of deletes. Let's remove that. 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 Label relates. I think that's all we need. We'll find out in a second. I'm gonna delete all of these. And then what I'm going to do is I'm just going to go T with a bracket. So relationship updating, relationship success, and label. Label, yeah, all right, cool. We've got what we want. Now, you can see here, relationship list. Oh no, that's broken. But when I hovered over it, that's what we want to do. The fuck? So, import. Fat fingered. Relationship list. Now, does this work? No, it doesn't. Oh, damn. Okay, it was worth a shot at testing. All right, didn't work. I'm not too fussed. Oh, actually, no, I didn't want that there. I actually want that down when it's a success. All right, so this doesn't work. We're fine with that. Yeah, I don't know what to do in this sort of case. We might create a function that I don't know. Don't care. We're just going to delete that. That's fine. I'm just going to put that one over there. It failed. That's fine. We'll work around with our limitations at the moment. Are you planning to make a project open core, or is it a cloud model? What do you mean by open core? Oh. Okay. Just looked up open core. That's a Mac thing. Like business plan. I later on make some premium features and charge customers. No. It's going to be open sourced. If businesses want to have extra features put into NearBeach or have plugins created for NearBeach, they're more than happy to contact me as a freelancer. And I can do it for a price on the side. But otherwise, yeah, NearBeach will be open sourced. So all of the features I'm creating in here that I will use for NearBeach will be open sourced. I do hope that after 0.32 is released, we start actually looking towards adding the ability for people to write plugins for it. That is something I've got to do a lot of research into, how that will work, how can we do that securely, and how can we get how can we get it to do what we want it to? How to, like, that's, I've never done something like that before. So, yeah. All right. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to go into the components. We're going to open up the the object components. We're opening up the link objects. We've got the relationship one in there. Going to create a new directory called, I've just realized, because I'm not being consistent, give me 2 seconds, refactor rename. Whoa, what the There you go. That's, I just want to be consistent with folder names and stuff like that. Yeah, this would be add relationship. And then underneath we'll do the add relationship like that. We'll just add it in very, very quickly. We're just going to have, oh, this is where the select would be. Because we're not using the whelk components here. We're actually using our own components because we want to actually have that sort of freedom for it. So what I want to do, I want to just create a select. And then you know how you've got the options in here. I'm just going to go help. I'm in pain. All right, easy done. Now we're going to scroll down. We're not going to separate all of this out yet and put them in their own little subcomponents. Though I will be doing that because if I do it for this one, it makes sense to do it for this whole thing. That way the level of concerns are in their own level, essentially. So in this sort of case, what we want to do is add relationship. We're just going to leave it like that for the moment. I don't think it will need many props to come down. We will be having an emit up though. So when you add something in, it will save it, it'll get that data, and then it'll emit it up. And we might have a status where we emit up notifications that we're making a change, and it could potentially put on a random little square thing here. I'll figure that one out. So we've got this, we've got the simple help. Now I've got a couple of bit of red text. I'm just going to refresh to make sure that red text was from a prior thing. It is. All right, neat. So we've got the help. I'm in pain selected down here. It looks nothing like whelk. That's fine. Once again, we'll get this to look like whelk in a minute. The next one will also, for the moment, be a select also. But we're going to turn it into a multi-select in the near future. Alright, so the next one will be quite literally a list of potential objects you can add to this particular project. We're just putting a select for the moment. In the very, very near future, what we'll actually implement is a essentially a multi-select that actually has the ability to search for us. Which might be ideal. I need to do the Welk stuff first with the multi-select first, and then I can use some of that code in here and deal with it like that. I think that's the cleanest way of doing it. The other thing will be a simple button. And this is where we're just going to add in the plus with the width being 10 pixels and the height being 10 pixels and right, so all right, cool. So it looks pretty ugly at the moment. That's fine. We're going to work with this. So for starters, max width, let's say 200 pixels for that. Cool. This one, we also want to put... let's do 20 pixel. We've got to fix that plus. That plus is not centered either, which is going to annoy the hell out of me. So we've got the help, we've got that. And then, yeah, all right, cool. So first off, div class equals add relationship. We're going to grab that. We're just going to do that like that. We're going to lint. We're going to go back to 7. We're going to delete that. This is where we've got to think. We need to actually add in a label, being like, hey, this is to add some information. So I'm going to go div class equals add relationship label. And in here, we're going to have a label, and we're going to have a for, and we're going to put it for the object selector. We're just going to have it like that for the moment. And we're going to have a div class equals add relationship object. We're going to delete that. We're going to go to line 26 and just paste that in and do our lint. We're going to go back here and just delete that one line. With the select, we're just going to go ID equals relationship type. ID equals relation object selector. And the bottom's going to be add submit relationship. Now we don't have, I've done a boo-boo there. Now we don't have much else. Now, what other thing I want to actually do? I'm just wondering how I can pass through the properties into here. All right. because it's not doing it there. Oh, that's fine. Once again, I've got access to that in here. So what we've got is we've got add relationship. I'm going to open that up. Straight off the bat, what we're going to do is display, that's going to be flex. Flex direction is going to be column. And then everything else under there is going to be fine. The label at relationship label. Just because there's one object under there, I'm going to do that. And we're going to go font size. We're going to go 0.75 rem. So we're going to make it smaller than usual. So this is smaller, but we'll bold it too. So font weight is going to be bold. Like that. All right. So it's needed information, but it isn't meant to jump out at you and make you do something. Not font width, a font. Font weight, sorry, bold. There we go. My brain decided to leave my place. Down here we need the, oops, wrong way. That would be add. That, if we have a look here, it will be the add relationship object. All right, this will be display flex. Flex direction is going to be row. Justify content. We're going to go flex start. So it's going to do something like this. And that's fine. Now, I don't want this as large. Once again, I want this sort of a little bit smaller down here. And we'll get the size and then we'll get the width. I think the space between this and this is great. The space between that and that, I feel, is also really good. So what I now need to do is deal with all the selects under there. And I mean, that is really tiny text. I don't think I'm going to do that. I think the lighter text will actually help. The thinness will help. I think the 0.75 is, yeah, that's good. All right. Now to punch it into place or mold it into place, however you want to say that. We also need to do that on that SVG. So that one's, I'm going to handle these. All right, just because I can handle them very, very quickly. My God, that took forever. All right, so duplicate blocked. Label. Oh, all right. I'm gonna handle that label. relates to relationship status. We don't need to worry about any of those. All right, cool. So that will handle that translation. That will... Then it's quite literally me just going through that whole list. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. We're just going to go 6 and paste. I'm just going to go blocked by blocking is sub object of parent object of has duplicate object. All right, I think that's good enough. This is just test data for the moment. We'll actually get that data from the back end because we'll actually have an API point which we'll need to create to actually fetch that information. That endpoint will also be able to be queried upon. So you could go, all right, cool, this is the information I need and so forth like that. We won't do that today. We'll do that at another day, just because it's almost 9 o'clock. I've got about an hour and 20 minutes left to stream. Let's just say that. I just want to get this looking nice and working, considering we're deciding to build this from scratch now. And then we got the plus. So I'm happy with these selects still having IDs like that. We'll need the... I don't think the button needs an ID. That's fine. So we've got the select with the button. We're going to pick some color. Once again, hot pink's just default, where we'll fix this up in a second. But also, we just need to have SVG set with the width being 10 pixels, the height being 10 pixels. I'm just going to go 1 REM. Alright, so if we go back over here, you can see this looks a little bit more smaller. But that plus does not line up inside that button. You're kidding me. Oh, that was a fluke. I didn't realize that will actually happen. I kind of want that to be that profile. These aren't meant to take over these, so these are smaller. It's something you're not going to do as often. And we've just hit another ad break. All right, we are slowly getting there. Socks is currently fast asleep, so I'm just going to touch her paws ever so slightly. I'm just going to do this. She's out like a light. There you go. Aww. All right, how's everyone going? Oh, I think just me yelling at then. Just woke her. She's like, what? Where? I'm doing fine. How's everyone going? Hopefully you're going well. We are slowly getting there. Slowly getting there. Oh, when did they raid? Oh, sorry. Big yawn. Got about 20 seconds left of the ads and we'll get right back into it. And yeah, we'll hopefully All right, anyway, let's get started again. Yeah, let's hope that I can get some stuff done. All right, so let's. I like the button size. I think the button side's really, really nice. This relates to yes, just select. I kind of want to do that. That way it gives this the ability to be flexible. So if we open up Chrome, so I've got Chrome set to Japanese. And we'll go localhost 8000, we'll go to project. Yeah, we'll go to this one. We'll scroll down. I haven't put 100% on this. That's select. So I'm going to do that right now. I'm going to go object selector. We're just going to copy that. We're just going to go down here. It's going to be part of, whoops, this down here. Like so. So I go back over here. I'm going to hit refresh. Ooh, it didn't actually do it. Yeah, that's what I wanted. All right. If I hit refresh here, yeah, it didn't do it. All right. All right. I've forgotten a layer, I think. I know, add relationship object. And then I've got it as an ID. There we go, that's better. So notice how the size takes up because it fits that size, but we go over here. Hey, it's about that size because of these guys and stuff like that. Yeah, I like that. Now, what will it look like on mobile? Oh, because it's somewhat small. I might be able to get away with it. All right, anyway, let's not worry about mobile yet. We'll have to actually play that with on a real mobile phone too. Like, I've got to use my mobile phone to actually do that. Because you should use your mobile phone to test things on. So, I've got this laid out how I want it. I'm happy with this layout. We've got the select, we've got that perfectly fine. We've got the label where we want it to. That's looking really, really nice. We just now need to do the borders. So, straight off the bat, this is where we've got relation... Oh, fuck off. Excuse my French. We've got this one. And let's go border. We're going 1 pixel dashed light gray. Oh, hold on. Let's actually see. We've got black up here. I'm gonna keep it with black. Let's have a look. So I kind of like it like that. That looks relatively nice. And then what we could potentially do, I don't know if we wanted the rounded edges. So if you have a look up here, we've got the rounded sort of edges. I don't know if we want to do that. So if I go border radius, oops. I'm just going to put 12 pixels at the moment. This is just a test, kind of like that. It does kind of. This is tricky. This is border radius. So, if memory serves me correctly, it's top left first, top right, bottom right, and then bottom left. So if I have a look at that, I mean, that's kind of matching these pills up here. Okay, I'm gonna keep that for the moment. We're going to do that. Or actually, no, this is... this is border top 1 pixel dashed black, border left none, border right none, border bottom 1 pixel dashed black. So I was trying to do something smart, but I can't. In this sort of case, I like this. I like how they're all sort of dashed. It's not as important as these buttons, but they're there. And then this one, what we got to do is border radius. All right, top left 0, then 0.25 rem, and then 0.25 rem, and then 0. All right, cool. And that gives us the round over here. Now I know the stream probably can't pick up these rounded edges, but they're cool. I think they're cool. All right. We've got that like that. We've got that like that. Now I'm just. And what we'll actually do is, for an option, it's not, hang on. Selected. All right, cool. Cool. Yeah, I was just cleaning this up so when someone clicks on that, they'll do something. I don't think the select as a placeholder. No, I don't think it has a placeholder, but when we move this into its own multi-select and stuff like that, we'll add in a placeholder. I'm not too worried about it. It'll be something like search for object. Easy done. We're going to get rid of this hot pink. It's no longer needed. But we do kind of need a color there. So if we go back here, you can see, it's a little plus. I mean, I could also go... Ugh. Oh, not text size, it's font size. But that also marks up the flex. Now it adds in that extra, adds in that extra stuff. All right, no, I hate it. Hey, when you hate it, you hate it. The plus sign should be something. We should do a light green or something like that. Let's see what colors I actually have. I'm just going to minimize everything. We're just going to open up this. I'm going to go source. We're going to go styles. We're going to go variables. We've got general variables. We were going to change all of these. Yeah, I have a feeling I was going to change all of these. We'll use them for the moment. Like that. I also want to do a hover. Like that. Alright, cool. So yeah, it's a subtle change in blue, meaning people can add that in and so forth like that. By default, it'll be disabled. We can use a disabled color. Where's my global variables? Yeah, I'm going to be changing these colors. Probably going to do what I'm doing in Welk and actually get some base colors, different sort of colors like purple, green, and all that kind of fun stuff. And then have the different levels of it and use it that way. That way, I'm not stuck with info hover. I can pick a very light or a muted color. Like in this sort of case, I'm just going to go muted. Because I'm just not happy with any other color. All right, so we now got a program in that button been disabled. So we're going to do something like this. We've also got to do a v-on click equals add object link, and that will handle that. So yeah, I'm happy with this. It's like Welk, it's close enough to Welk and stuff like that, but whilst being its own sort of thing, but it fits within NearBeach at the moment. I also got to go margin bottom. I'm going to go to REM. So, God, maybe 1.5, maybe 1.25. I mean, sure. Let's fix up these. So let's go define functions. One of them and computed. So one of them will be const is disabled equals computed. We've also got to define the models. So one of the models will be relationship model equals ref. And that by default will actually be relates, like that. We'll need to import the ref. And then const object. This is where I've got to object selector model, like that. So is disabled, that's going to return object selector model equals, and it's just going to be that. That's it. Now it's going to throw up, because we've got to go dot value. Sorry. Now I've got to sort of state that these are going to be strings. That way, whoever looks at this is like, all right, cool. These are just strings. Nothing funky with that. Down here, what we're going to do is we're going to go vModel equals relationship model. Done. We're happy with that one. And then this one's vModel equals object selector model. Cool. That one's done. I'm going to key this in very, very shortly. Yeah, we'll fetch these shortly. Add object link, so that's going to be a function. We're not going to bother with the code just yet. We'll do that in a second. There's going to be two parts of the code. It's going to add it, and then when it gets data from the backend, it's going to then ask it to insert. And we'll get it inserted. Isn't that right, Socks? Now, all of this is good. Apart from the fact that I don't have value in here. So that's that one done. This one will have a bunch of objects in here. We'll always have the disabled selected. At the moment we'll just make sure all of this is working. So that's now blanked out. No one can click on any of that, but the instant we pick any of that, boom. That's what I like. Cool. We could grade that out completely. And then no one can pick the top one, which I like. And then they add it in. All right. What I need to do is I need to figure out how we can get this data. We're going to look at the old NearBeach and get some inspiration. So I'm going to go to building socks her domain. We're going to scroll all the way down. We're going to open up linked objects. We're going to go and get lists and stuff like that. So usually when this pops up, you select what type of object you want. And then it'll actually search for that data. And it will bring it back, number of pages, current pages, stuff like that. So it will paginate everything. I think adding in a endpoint for search, doing it this way is still a good idea. It doesn't like the link creation. So the link creation itself, we put at the project level and that's going to be copied everywhere, and we've done the services and stuff like that. I mean, it could still be there, but I feel like it's getting cluttered at the moment because then I need a special endpoint to search for. I think we could do it with the search. So create a search API for this, because we're only going to be searching for stuff. It's only going to be a get. And we can send through query data. Which is what I like. Instead of sending it through as posts, it'll be a get, which makes sense. That, and also then it can be this can be utilized in multiple different places. It is separated out. All right, I like that idea. So we're going to leave this for the moment. The idea is when this actually when loading becomes completed with this is when it'll actually fetch the data. I'm going to close all those tabs. I'm going to minimize everything. I'm going to think about this. So I want NearBeach. I want views, API. I want... Sorry, my brain just went boop. I don't want authentication. Available data, object data, or user. I'm going to create a new directory, and I'm just going to call it search. Or, yeah, search. And then in here, we're going to create a Python file, and it's going to be called potential object links. All right, and we're going to import a view component. Sorry, a view set. And before I continue, that's an API view. View set model views. All right, cool. Yep. This isn't going to be connected to a model. All right, it's going to be very, very simple. We won't have a query set at all. I don't think we'll have a serialized class at all, but maybe. HTTP method names. We're only going to have get. We just need to serialize sort of stuff. And we've got to think about the serialized sort of stuff too. So at the moment, if I move this off to the left, we'll go onto the network, we'll look at this, and we'll have a look at the link list with the response. We've actually got a really nice sort of link list like this, so we're going to copy that sort of serialization. That will, at least that sort of pattern. So I kind of like that. Oh, we've just hit an ad break. Another thing which I've got to, I don't know why I do that with pens, but another thing we've got to deal with is pagination in the future. So, what will actually happen is, in the future, at the moment we're not doing this. At the moment we'll just grab everything and have it as a simple drop down. But in the future we'll have pagination, and then we only send like 10 results back and stuff like that. So it's something small. Gets the user to start searching. Yeah. So the when I implemented it for the current version of NearBeach, it was very simple. Which was really nice. Oh, Jesus sucks. Jesus, you're coming in hard and fast there. Are you going to say hi to chat? You didn't say hi. Look, say hi. Oh, no, she's like, no, I don't want to step on you. Alright, she doesn't want to stand on the hands. Yeah, it's just at the moment I kind of want to get this sort of connected up loosely and then polish it. She's actually a really small kitty. She's actually a small cat, believe it or not. She's nowhere near as large as other cats I've had. She's the smallest cat I've ever had. She had 2 litters before I got her. And I got her when she was 1 year old, or just a bit over a year old. Definitely the camera angle, yeah. It's because she's so much closer to the webcam than my face was. So, yeah. Just a bit of forced perspective there. Alright, so I want it to come back like this. At the moment, what we're going to do is we're going to send back everything. And now that I say stuff out aloud, pagination won't be needed in this sort of case in the future if we actually add in search. As they type in, it will then do that request. And... Yeah, I won't need the pagination. Alright, that just makes it a lot easier for us. I'm not worried about that at all. Alright, so we've got a serializer we can use for this. Great. We don't need any more work on that. We just gotta... In this sort of case, we won't have an object assignment. That's fine. We won't. We'll have an object ID. We'll have an object title. We'll have an object status, which is fine. We'll have an object type. We won't have a link. We won't have a link relationship, and we won't have a reverse relations. Now that I'm saying this out loud, we might need a sub-object of this one. Which is fine. It's not going to be a problem. I'm just having a quick think how this can be achieved very easily. Yeah, alright. We'll come to that when I get to that. Alright. Going with this one, we're only dealing with project requirement items, and tasks. So we only need those 4. With this one, this is where you need pagination on here because it was part of the wizard, but we're no longer doing that as a wizard. We're doing it as a search sort of thing. Alright. We need at static method at in reality, this is a search. We don't need to check for permissions. Alright, def. We got a get. We got a request coming through. Actually, this will be a list. And then we need args and quags. This might be... I won't have anything to serialize, which is fine. But I will have a query string, which just Django REST framework use set query string. I've just forgotten how to do that. Filtering against the URL, quags, username. Not what I want. You got a project idea, you want to make a corporate illustration pack generator. You have any suggestions? Not Upsplash, sorry, Updraw. Like it'll draw like illustrations like this. All right. My next sort of suggestion is once you actually do that, what's stopping you from creating a pitch deck and stuff like that from there, using that as the illustrations to port into this? That's my only suggestion. So yeah. All right, generic filtering, blah, blah, blah. All right, I'm just, it's down. Ooh, let's go AI mode. You can access query string parameters in URL within the view primarily through self request and query parameter. All right, cool. But if it isn't there, that's fine. I just want it as none. All right, cool. Yeah. It's a free idea. You can have it. All right, so let's go. Query string equals request dot how did it have it? Self request. No, it'll be just request. Now we could use Q for the query. That's perfectly fine. Yeah, we use Q as a query. That's, yeah. What I want to do, method used to fetch potential object links. All right, so we need to get the objects from projects, tasks, requirements, and requirement items. Easy done. Oh, and another suggestion is if you need like a project management system to help you, you know, there's this NearBeach thing. Sorry, that took me way too long to actually come up with that. So I had way too much rattling in my head. So we need to go through all of those. Now, the great news is we can union stuff in Django. Union RM union. I've done it a long time ago. In which case, for example, if you you can union in a couple of query results all into one, which will be great, which is what we'll end up doing. So we'll have one for projects, one for tasks and requirements and so forth like that. So we'll have project results equals, and this is, before we actually do any of this, we need to, one, get what users can access. So we'll do the permissions. And then two, filter and all that kind of fun stuff. So let's get what the users can access. Sorry, I'm just having a quick think. That would be object assignment results equals object assignments.filter is deleted equals false. In this sort of case, we're not looking at any groups or anything. Sorry, we're looking at user groups. All right, I've got to stand back a bit. User group results equals user group dot objects dot filter. All right, is deleted equals false, and then user should be something like that. Famous last words. I think I've mucked that up, but that's perfectly fine. Import that, easy done. That's just imported up there. So that's the user results, and then from here we should have group ID. We're just gonna go group is null equals false. That's just to make sure that the group ID will pass through. Now, we don't need to actually put this into here. What we need to actually do is we need to filter for those groups in here. So we need to use group in. It'll be group ID in equals, and then essentially just all of this. Like that, all right? Then I can get rid of that. So, fetch objects the user has access to. And this is where all this math comes into play. This user groups contains the connections of users and their group connection. All right. In this sort of case, we're not looking at the permissions. We don't care. They can have a read only. All they need is access to that group for the ability to make this connection. We don't need to look any further than that. If they don't have any permission to projects, for example, and they're on a task and they're trying to link in a project, that is fine, because we'll do that permission check on the task. It's fine adding in that connection to the project from the task. So, hence we don't look at the number values here, we're just looking at the groups. So we got the groups, and then the object assignment table, that's every single object, how it connects. So that will be connecting from groups to like a project, groups to a task, and also between projects and tasks and stuff like that. It's a big table. So that one should be fine. And then that gets us at the permissions. And then what we need to do is get each object's connection. Easy done. So we'll have project results equals, this will be like projects.objects.filter. This is deleted equals false. This will also then be where the ID in, this is where we go to the object assignment results dot values. This is where I just go project ID, like so. We need to add on a filter. Sorry, and the filter, what it's going to do is project ID is null equals false. So it adds in, it makes sure that, oops, sorry, socks. It makes sure that we're only looking at projects for that connection because there'll be a lot of nulls in that table. We just got to go up here and go project, task, requirement, and requirement item. I'll put that in proper way. There, that's just in alphabetical order. I like putting things in alphabetical order, makes it easier for me to find. Now, the next thing is we've got to go through this. We could easily do this for task and so forth like that. I'm just wondering if there's an easier way to do this where we can do an object out. And I'm going to say no. Yeah, I'm going to say no, and the reason being is it's just adding on unnecessary complication. It's not going to save us many lines. If we needed to go through, let's say, 100 tables to do this, it might be easier to set up a generic one so we could feed through the thing and just be like, go through this and do this and all that kind of fun stuff, but no. Let's not overly complicate this. Now, at the end of it, what we need to do is we need to annotate stuff. And if we have a look at this data, I'm just going to copy this. I'm just going to paste it. Oh, piss. Didn't copy that, did it? There we go. All right. I'm just copying, just putting this out here just so everyone has it as a reference. Oi. All right, object assignment we don't need because we won't have that whatsoever. Object ID we do need. Object title we do need. Status. I'm just wondering if we're going to use the status on the front end. Otherwise, I don't want to send that data. Because I was going to have the object followed by the object ID, a hyphen, and then the title. But I think having the status there would be good. Object type, we don't need parent link, we don't need that, and we don't need that. So those are the 4 fields we need. So what we've got to do is we're going to go object ID equals, and then it's going to be F, and then it's just going to be ID. And then we've got object title equals that. Now, this is going to complain. I'm just going to go from Django.db.models import F. All right, and then we need object status equals F. Now, I don't know if the status is going to come through correctly. This is why we've got the serializers working for us. However, no. I'm gonna veto the status. The reason being is I need to then add in a translation layer. It's just not worth it because the statuses are different between project and task and all that kind of stuff. So I need to actually extract it out, go, this is going to be a string, just pass this through as a string, and I've got to do all the funky stuff. So we got that, and then we go object type is not going to be that. It's going to be that. And that's it. And then we just go to the values. Like that. And then we've just got to do it for the other ones. Now, I'm having a quick think. We could do this smartly. But it also means that I've got to set this up correctly. If I were to do this smartly, what I would do is object structure. We'll have an array, and then in each array we'll have rm an object type. Like that. Have something like that. And then loop through it. Because it's got a similar sort of structure. If we do this, this is 16 lines. It does actually save us a little bit. Loop through each object structure to get the data we require. I'm just going to say and this is where I need to go into here. Django declare blank query set. All right, we need an empty query set by default. I'm just going to say data results equals no, it's not going to like it. Using Django, but would like to declare a empty query set. This query set might have data placed into it. However, the data being placed into it will be from. I'm just going to copy this. If that matches, we don't want to match that, which uses dot values. You can use the dot none method on your model. All right. When using union, Django requires all combinations of query set to have the same number of columns and compatible data types, which we will be doing. Value in your original set. All right. So it looks like we can. All right. So I'll use project as a base here. All right. Put that one down there. Declare empty query set to insert data into. All right, cool. So we declare that, and then we loop through. So that will be for each. Now that we're calling this object structure, so we're going to call single structure in self.object structure, and essentially it'll be all of this but changed. So we'll get the data and then we'll union it in. Why is that complaining? All right, we'll come back to that. Anyway, it is ad time. Yeah, we've got about 50 seconds left of the ads. This will be the last ad break for tonight, because I don't go to sleep. So, yeah. We got a lot done, though. So, yeah, once this is sort of done, this means we get the ability to then try and add it in, and hopefully everything falls into place. I think then it's the add functionality is done. The read's done, but there's a bug in the read, which I got to fix up. The update's done. The delete's done, and then this is done, and I just move away from it for a couple of weeks, and then come back and write all the unit tests, find all the problems, and fix them up. So, yeah. All right, welcome back. Okay, so this has a problem, but I'm going to ignore it for the moment. I don't know, I don't understand why it's coming up for each. Oh. I've been using a lot of .NET, all right? So we're going to go Like over here, we've got results.union, and then we can do all of that. But at the moment, I'm just going to go A equals this. We're going to keep it simple. We are, in fact, going to only reference any of that. So A equals, this will be single structure. We're looking for the rm dot filter. And then in here, this is where we go is deleted equals false. And then ID under n equals object assignment results dot filter. This is where we need this here. And we're going to go single structure, all of that. Under is null, and we want false. All right, cool. So what this little jiffity-mibiggy does is, oh, fuck off. Sorry, excuse my French. I did a single click and just delete stuff all the time. It really pisses me off. Is that it passes through this bit of data into this to make a field. So in the first case, it's going to be project underscore ID under is null, and then we're looking for stuff that is false for that. All right, so that's a little trick that we've done. Then we just need the values, and once again we just do an F here, and we just type that through. We're looking for that particular value, pass through, and that's it. So we're looking for that ID match there, in which case that would be all of that. And then what we're left with is this annotation. Except this would be single structure object type. And that will loop through all four of those. And then we just got to union the data. So that would be done. So that will be that. So the results union, that will union everything in there. Because it has the same values and stuff like that, that shouldn't be a problem. This does save us quite a little bit of code. It does add some complexity into it, but it doesn't repeat all the stuff, which annoys the bejeebers out of me. That handles all of that. Now we're just going to serialize. This will be serializer equals, I'm going to try and use the object one, which I forgot its name. Object data, link serializer. All right, and send back data. That will be just us going la la la. That's it. Now I'm just going to connect this up and we can test it. Ooh, one thing I just realized. Where at no point are we filtering for the query string if it exists. All right, not a problem. We just do it here. So we just go title because everything is now uniform. .I contains query string. Easy done. Cool. Now let's get it connected. So we're going to the URLs. We're going into, now this is not going to be a public one per se. I'm just trying to think if it potentially could be. It's really more of an internal one. But then again, it is data search. I can see some people who are needing it to use it. So what I want to do, I want to go from NearBeach.views.api version 1. This is part of the search, and then we need to import. And I'm just doing that because I know in the future we're going to add in a couple of searches in here. I think this is going to be public. We are going to document this. Oh, this is going to be data dot potential object links. I don't know why these ones are lowercase. Oh, I know why. Oh, I know why. Sorry, renamed the thing incorrectly. Let's get that fixed up quickly. So, from nearbeach.views.api.search, we are going to import, and we do something like this, and we then go fuck off. We then go potential object links, and then we go potential object links dot potential object link views. Oh, that should be view set. Sorry, I will name that again, and then base name is all of that funky stuff. Yeah, we're just gonna rename that view set down in here. There, easy. Not a problem. So we've just registered the routes for that. Now, we should be able to access that from here. So if we go into here, because it's a get, we can go API /version1 / data / potential object links, and we go / and we're like, yay, field ID expected a number but got admin. All right, not a problem. That's easy. Not expecting an ID here. Cannot use none as query value. All right, that just means this thing goes single results equals all of this stuff. And then if query string is not none, single results equals single results dot filter, and then that will be title. Object title, sorry, I contains query string. Easy done. And then we just append it in. So that will be results dot union. and then single results. Easy done. Not going to be a problem. Now, this has a problem. Oh, my linter went crazy. There, no longer a problem. Okay, query set annotates received non-expressions project. Ooh, all right. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to hit this. I'm just going to hit play. We're just going through all of this. So we're doing the... Oh, we've got to annotate. I think that's it. All right, we have nothing. We should actually be getting stuff. What I'm going to do, I'm going to put a breakpoint there. I'm just going to hit refresh. We should hit that breakpoint. We're skipping it. Single results does contain a bunch of stuff. Sweet. However, it looks like when we're hitting... We're hitting this with the results... I think I know what I'm doing. All right. Not a problem. Let's get rid of that. Let's hit refresh. Order by not allowed in subqueries or compound statements. All right. So we've now, I'm assuming we've hit this one and that's why we've got a problem. Yeah, we've hit that one. Oh. Okay, give me a couple of secs. I might be mucking something up. We're so close, but it is 10 o'clock. So I'm going to hit this. So we've got single results. And then we've got the results here. I'm just going to hit play. We've got more single results, but when I hover over results, we've got nothing in there. All right, I'm just going to hit play, and then once again, we've got nothing in there, and we've got multiple results. So I do believe we've got to go results equals that. I'm just going to play it all the way through. And then for some strange reason, it's crashing here or here. So we're going to play it again. Here we are, single results. We've got a bunch in there, and then results themselves is an empty query set. So I'm going to hit play. Results now has a bunch of stuff in there. I'm going to hit play again. Results. There's our query in there. Do I see a union in there? No. All right. I'm gonna, whoops. I'm gonna do that first. I'm just gonna play through everything. We're gonna let this all settle. It hits here. This is gonna be a none, but it doesn't have a type union. So what I'm going to do, it's a hack. I think there's a better way of doing this, but for the moment, that will. The other way I could do this is I do it for project first, and then I loop through the other three. All right, so we're here. Results is none. We're going to go forward, and then, yeah, all right, cool. And then we go back here. And then we go back here. And then order by, not allowed. Yeah, all right. Yeah, it fails here. All right, give me 2 seconds. Django REST framework, serialize a union query set. It's different models. Different models, heterogeneous union. If the query set belongs to different models, you can not use a single model serializer. Oh, all right, cool. Directly custom serializer a lot. Yeah, all right, cool. All right, that's not a problem. Not a problem. In this sort of case, what I would do is I would separate out each of those those objects to get the data and stuff like that, and then I'll do the combination in here. This won't take long to actually implement. I'm going to push forward. And we're going to get this done. So, we don't need this anymore. It's not going to loop through. We're going to simplify this down, back down again. Yeah, we're just going to simplify this. So, I'm going to go def get project. This will be a static method. I just need to pass through the object assignment results. Actually, there. fuck? Come on. All right. Yeah. All right. Cool. So that will init the object assignment results. We've got the object assignment results. That way, it's no longer going to be a static method. We do need self in there. That's not going to be a problem. Private method to get project object links. Easy done. We paste in this. We're just going to go results. We're not going to worry about this now, because now we can just go project dot objects dot filter. We're going to just delete this. This is no longer needed. Make function from a no. We'll get to there. So ID in. This is where self dot object we don't need to do any of this special stuff now. We just go project ID is null equals false. Gets rid of that line. The values will be just project ID, like so. The annotate, all of that kind of stuff, that will quite literally just be project. I think we still need value. Sorry, we do need value there. And then all the values are like that. And then what we do is we serialize the data. Like so. And we just return it. Then we've got to do that same thing for all the other components and stuff like that. So it's just going to be copy and paste. I know I don't like it, but hey. Delete before, delete end. That's just going to be a requirement. Objects. Delete before, requirement, ID. Delete before, requirement. Delete end, requirement. I mean, we can always return the results and serialize it. No. We'll get everything done in here. So in here, there should be no projects. This will be requirement item. And we're just changing these to items. So requirement item ID. Then we need requirement item ID. Then that's just going to be requirement item. That's, yeah, pretty much the same. Then we just go to task. Task ID. Task ID. Task ID. And hopefully I haven't fucked up. Now, this means that there's a lot of lines of code now. Delete all of that. And I'm not doing anything smart. So what I need is project serialize, project data equals, equals self.getProject. We need requirement data, requirement item data, task data, like that. Now, this one stated that we get the data and then we add them all together into one called combined data. So it means that this line goes, and it goes project data plus requirement item data plus task data. Hopefully that works. It worked. All right, that's the information that frontend actually needs, and that was really quick. Then again, the database is small. As the database gets bigger and bigger and bigger, we're going to have problems. Now, another thing which I've just realized is I'm not handling the query text on this, which is going to be a problem. The other thing which I'm not handling is give me a couple of seconds as I think. The other thing I'm not handling is I lost it. Absolutely lost it. Fuck. Debounce. It's something to do with something. Oh, exclusions, and that wasn't it, but that's also something I'm not dealing with at the moment. So I'm going to put in here a simple to-do, pass query string through, to pass exclusion items through. Though that can actually be done when the user gets to the end, all that kind of stuff. Wait, Mr. Robot. It's lost. I've lost my train of thought. But we got this working. So at least for the moment, we can grab all the data and be happy with it. We need to actually edit this to include that, because we do want to build in the query string where we start typing in there. A little select box will pop up and be like blah, 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 and you select what you need. We also need to limit results back. What else do I need? I mean, this is all ready for the front end anyway. We've got the object type, we've got the ID. From there, and DFR way to do it is using search fields instead of query text. Okay. Alright, to do this the proper way with search fields. Instead of query text. Yeah, I can easily do that. That's not going to be a problem. So yeah, there's still somewhat a lot of stuff to do here. At least I can pass stuff down to here. And then we can try and finish off the create next time. At least the initial version of the create. Once again, we'll add in the ability to search and select and all that kind of fun stuff a bit later. But yeah, we've got this working. And then we can move on to the documentation, which will be hopefully a lot easier. And then the notes and comments, which will hopefully be really easy to do. And then the MISC, which will be extremely easy to do because we're just getting some CRUD. Basic CRUD. We create, we read, and we delete with this one. So there's no update. And all of these, we've got the business logic already, and I think the business logic can pass through pretty easily. Yeah. All right. I don't know if they're at their computer, but I don't want to raid someone who's not at their computer at the moment. I'm just finding someone who we can raid. Alright. I'm just waiting for the ads for that to disappear. That'll take a couple of seconds. So yeah, if you want to change your themes in a day, it is possible. That's my dream for a design system. It never seems to work out. Yeah. Yeah, this theme is slowly growing on me. I might change all the colors and stuff like that, but I'll get someone who's a color expert to tell me. I also need to implement dark mode too. So yeah, once we've got this vertical slice done, that's when I start working on all of that. So yeah, looks good. Thank you. Thank you. Yeah, I've spent a month on the redesign. Still got to fix up a few things like the stakeholder stuff I will need to do, but yeah, that's all fine. Anyway, we are going to raid Swabby Games Live. If I press the keys correctly. Alright, there we go. So yeah, thank you very much everyone for being here tonight. It has been productive. We actually got stuff done, which is nice. We got this pill stuff done. I like that. It's small. Yeah, you can see what it's meant to do and stuff like that. So yeah, I will hopefully see you guys on Friday. So yeah. Anyway, it is 10:20. I've run out of steam. I do hope you enjoy the next stream. So yeah, thank you very much. And for those on YouTube, sadly you won't be able to join us, but don't forget to like and subscribe. It does actually really help the channel.